this is part 2 of the future of the NBA. Now, let's talk about someone in the NBA. He's young, he's flashy, he has charisma and can ball. That sounds like the blueprints of a player to be the face of the league. And no, I'm not talking about Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. I'm talking about Anthony Edwards. Now, people know him as Ant, so I'm going to call him that sometimes, just in case you get confused. Now, Anthony Edwards has all the things off the court to become the face of the league. He's a very interesting player, and he has all the personality in the world. But on the court, he has the game necessary to be the face of the league. He is an incredible offensive player. He is fun to watch, and he's a great scorer. But he is also a great defender, and he has room to improve his game. And guess what? He's only 22. Now, there is a reason he's not the face of the league yet, right? Partly because he's so young, even though the media loves him, and so do the fans. But he's not the best player in the world. Now, that being said, I have to ask the question, can somebody be the face of the league if he is neither the best player in the world? And the other question is, can Anthony Edwards be the face of the league, or can he be the best player in the world? And the answer to both of those questions is yes. I do truly believe that he can be the best player in the world. That is a long way from there, though, because there's some players who may take that position before he does, and there's a player right now who is the best player in the world who is hard to catch. But obviously, Anthony Edwards is in the playoffs. After this playoff run, who knows? We might call him the best player in the world at that point. Who knows, right? So, we got to wait on that one. But if he never became the face of the best player in the world, could he be the face of the league? Well, the answer is yes. If you look at NBA history, there has been times where someone was not the best player in the world, but yet was considered the face of the league. Kobe Bryant, for example, right? He was considered the face of the league for a while, even though there were years where he was not the best player in the world. Someone like Tim Duncan was better, right? Or even LeBron, Mr. Face of the League. Even currently, they call him the face of the league. Actually, that's a perfect example. In the past few years, he's been referred to as the face of the league, even though he hasn't been the best player in the world for a few years now. Giannis was better for a few years. Jokic is by far and away the best player in the world right now. Joel Embiid was better. And so, that's a great example of someone not being the best player in the world, but being the face of the league. I think the face of the league has to do with popularity and the game. Like, as long as you have a year where you could argue you're the best player in the world, you probably have a case to be the face of the league. So it's a yes and no question, I guess, in that sense. But I do think Anthony Edwards can get there. Now, that being said, the only issue that keeps me from saying that Anthony Edwards will 100% be the face of the league is that there's a player who's younger than him and who may have an even greater potential, who's very media friendly, who has charisma and personality, who seems to want it as well, right? I'm talking about Victor Wembanyama. That's the one guy that's keeping me from thinking he will eventually get there, because Victor Wembanyama might get there first. And the other player is the current best player in the world. A player who doesn't really take it, right? He doesn't appreciate the media, but maybe one of these days he flips and he says, you know what? I might as well make this extra money. And I'm talking about Nikola Jokic. Now, there are other players who could technically talk about. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be one of them, for example. Luka Doncic, who, I'm not forgetting, but I just think he's stuck in Mavericks, and that's a tough matchup, for him to become the face of the league. But and he's a little older, I guess you would say. Even though he's young, he's still young. Wow, that's crazy. But that would be all. I think, like I said, Anthony Edwards definitely has a case. Obviously, this is kind of like a rough draft of my future video. If you're wondering, I'm just kind of, giving some points just to see the reaction. So I want to really see your reaction. If you haven't watched my previous video about Wilt Chamberlain or my previous video about Wemby, go check those out. I would really appreciate that. Thank you much for watching. God bless you, and I hope you enjoy.